Well, good morning. It's currently 2 a.m. We're continuing to track Hurricane Ian now, winds of 85 miles per hour. It is a Category 1. There's the center of circulation, but the bulk of the convection well out ahead of this storm system and already impacting the Carolinas, especially from Charleston over towards Myrtle Beach. They're seeing the biggest impacts, kind of like what we've seen yesterday here on the first coast. Now, storm system's about as close as it's going to get to Jacksonville right now. It's about 130 miles towards our east, but what we're seeing is the dry air wrap around the back side of it, and see the guidance right there. Continue to track that off towards the north, but that doesn't tell the whole story because, yeah, that's where it's headed, but out ahead of it you have all that convection, that onshore flow, and through this morning that's when they're going to really see the worst of the weather out there. But for us, that dry air continuing to spill in, and spill is a good word because that's one reason why it's relatively cooler out there this morning. In fact, we have lows into the low 60. Yesterday we had a record low high temperature here in Jacksonville, and yeah, winds are still spilling here up to about gusting to 30, 35 in St. Simon's Island. Mayport's at 38. NAS Jacks gusting up to about 37. So still enough to knock down some tree limbs out there, but not enough to really cause major issues at this time. You take a look out there at the Matanzas over the Bridge of Lions. Water levels they did peak right around midnight. Now I'm going to start to back off a bit, especially as those winds continue to flow offshore here as we go ahead through this morning into this afternoon and gradually back off. We still have to worry about the tide. We have some of that residual water, especially stuff flowing downstream into the St. Johns. So I want to be continuing to watch for some high water levels overnight and heading into tomorrow, but not nearly as high as the last few days. All right, so southeastern Georgia is dry, no problem. Gust up to 30 out there for you. No rainfall in Columbia, Baker, and Rivers, A-OK. Camden and Nassau, rainfall is over early morning. Water level rise is still possible out there just because you still have a storm just offshore, but the winds are shifting in from the north. But wouldn't be surprised if you do see some spots upwards about 2 feet of water level rise. Clay and Putnam, no more rain out there for you. The St. John's rise still could be up mainly because all that water from upstream has to go somewhere. It's going to flow downstream, but the Black Creek, we're not terribly worried about that. Gust up to about 30 miles per hour still here. St. John's and Flagler, gust still up to about 30, less than 2 feet above normal though. A high tide's going to be here at 11:35 a.m. I'm not terribly worried about that. It's going to be far shy of what it was yesterday. Today's high is 76. Cooler northwest wind continuing to remain in place, and you take a look at that Friday beach and boat forecast, 77. Northwest 15 to 30 is just, yeah, it's, look at all this dry air spilling in. It's going to be a pleasant weekend, in fact. So I know a lot of us have to clean up out there, and you're at least going to have some decent weather. No other significant weather in the forecast as well if we look at the extended outlook.